Puna Nyaki Janet Gwena Halito Sio Kunamante on Steve Huntidish Kikadoos. I can't think of it anymore. Sio Stongo.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Hi, everybody. My name is Shane Williman.
Well, the great Mr. Williman,
Whoa.
decided to we had a I always got to say, I love our conversations, and it's I think things flow pretty easy for us because
Between us, yeah.
like even when we don't have these equipment in our face and we're just in our own little private conversations,
Right.
like these are the types of things that we talk about, like
That's it.
like it gets interesting, like so would you like to tell us about any new adventures or anything that you got coming up?
Sure. Um, Great segue there.
uh,
Um, so, uh, I'm a recovered alcoholic and cocaine addict, and most of my life, uh, the primary and most important part of my life is staying sober and helping other people recover.
mm.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about what my my employment is having me do. But I took this. I made this kind of a not kind of a. I made a sacred vow um, about 6 years ago, and to do whatever my Creator would have me do. And there was kind of what the old people call a covenant or a contract. And basically, the deal was if I did whatever he asked me to do, he would take away my problems. And there's a part in the big book Alcoholics Anonymous that says this. It says, when we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer. Being all powerful, he provided whatever we need as long as we stayed close to him and performed his work well. And so I mentioned employment a minute ago, and I work in surgery. Uh, I'm a surgical assistant, surgical technologist, and I'm headed to Connecticut on a traveling assignment for 13 weeks. And sounds like I'm going to work in Connecticut for a hospital, but that's really half the story.
Yeah, definitely.
The real story is I don't know why, uh, but my Father, my Creator, has got some stuff for me to do in Connecticut, and I'll be uh, I'll be scrubbing some surgeries in order to pay for the place that I'm staying while I help his children uh, find a way out of addiction and alcoholism. So that's the adventure.
Definitely.
And Tatum and I were talking a little bit earlier, and it's this thing they told me. I have a sponsor in Austin, Texas, named Don Mabry, and Don always talked about placing yourself in a position to be of service. That means you can't just sit on your couch and believe in God.
Yeah. Which makes sense sometimes, but
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to go find the people
yeah.
and find your brothers and sisters, and uh, I'm not meant to help them all, but God seems to filter out the ones He would have me help, and
Hmm.
so my job is just to go place myself in a position. So it's like we were talking last night. A lot of the times in the morning, my first prayer is like, "Here I am, and here we go."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Well, I would have to say that you were definitely that vessel for me. You were definitely that vessel that made you allowed me to see God in a light that I never knew existed. And it's that's what has kept me sober today. Was God allowing you to come into my life, and me being able to release these things that I struggled with, for all these years. So, it's I got to think that God definitely loves somebody in Connecticut. you know, I mean, that's the only way I see it. Is that
and the flip side, Barry, is you know you got to give it away to
yeah,
keep it, right? So God loves me so much that He knows exactly what I need, and in order for me to stay alive and vital, um, I got to be trying to help His kids,
yeah,
and so there's work to be done. So it's kind of that thing about helping to save them saves yourself, kind of thing.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You
So
know, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I guess like I can appreciate. I can appreciate what God has allowed. And I remember that guy that came to you and was like, "Hey, can will you be my sponsor?
mm,
Will you like I didn't quite exactly understand what that was going to look like.
me neither.
And and the way that you approached it, like you spoke this language that I could understand. And like before that, would I have ever have listened to anybody that talked like that? Probably not. But just the way that you brought prayer, and the way that you acknowledged the creator, and the way that like I when I think about you, I always think about that set aside prayer.
Mm,
Like that's what I always think of whenever I think about you,
wow.
is that set aside prayer.
Yeah.
Like that's when it was introduced to me, and like that was like one of the things that stuck with me.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that, when I received that prayer, it was like a, it was like a refreshing, like for some reason I knew something bigger than us humans was involved, because all of the things that were going through my mind when I got back that last time was like, I've done all of this.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then somebody hands me that prayer, and basically I'm petitioning the creator of the universe to do something inside of me, to set aside everything I think I know, right? Because everything I think I know is getting in the way
Yeah.
of what I need to know, what I need to experience.
Yeah, I like the way you put that.
And I can't open up my own mind, right? Like I don't have the power to literally take thoughts and ideas and move them to the side,
Yeah,
but God does.
definitely.
And so, uh, man, that was the kind of the another turning point for me was like,
Yeah.
man, and it's here's what it's a continuation because like when I sat down in Darian's chair before this meeting, like when I close my eyes, it's always about that. Um, like uh, for a human being, every day you wake up and you're headed to go do something, like the daily grind.
Yeah,
Your mind,
routine. Yeah.
your mind tells you like this is what's going to happen, right? And I think that's probably a real human characteristic. But I think what we find out is that if I'm able to just set those things aside and maybe put on a new pair of glasses, uh, this day may be nothing like what I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And um, and some really remarkable things happen when I'm able to do that. It's not just Groundhog Day every day.
Yeah.
It's like uh, the book talks a lot about watching. You know, and in order for me to be seeing God, I got to be focused.
Yeah.
So, shall I read this thing?
Yeah. Let's jump into it.
This sacred meditation on. Ooh, I almost skipped ahead and cheated. July the 2nd, summer meditations with Native American elders. If I destroy you, I destroy myself. If I honor you, I honor myself. Kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Unbots men. It's Mayan. It is said when we need love the most is when we deserve it the least. Whenever I have secret thoughts about someone else, it will put bad feelings inside myself. I will hurt myself. If I secretly hold a grudge or resentment against my brother or sister, I will be a slave to that person until I let them go. Let me remember to look at my brother in a sacred manner. Today, let me think like a warrior. Let my thoughts toward my brothers and sisters be good thoughts. Let me remember that you are in charge. If I get upset at another person today, let me remember that the most important thing I can do is to talk is to first talk to you, because when I'm right with you, it is impossible to be out of harmony with my brothers and sisters. Today I intend to focus on, and that's a question, right? So what do you intend on focusing on?
Like for me, it would well. There's also a prayer in the corner.
Oh, my creator, take my hand and guide me through today. Okay.
And I myself, I like to read the prayer, and then I like to go into the thought.
Ah.
And it because I don't know, like you were just saying, that's routine for me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I train my mind to do that. But I would have to say, like it would be like if I start focusing on God, take my hand, God, take my hand, God, take my hand, God, take my hand, God, take my. You know what I mean? Like I'm just gonna be sitting here looking looking
Waiting.
crazy. Yeah. Like okay, like
Yeah.
because that's my human nature, right?
Right.
That's where my sickness lies. Like I don't have the willpower.
Sure.
I don't have the tools to sit here and physically, like, God, take my hand.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna, I'm physically I can sit here and wait all day. Mentally, I'm gonna, like I'm gonna focus on it.
Right.
Then my emotions are gonna get involved.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch this ship slowly start.
Golly.
Like it's slowly gonna start going down.
Right.
And then when I feel like he's spiritually not gonna come and take my hand and lead me,
What's the point?
yeah,
Anyway, like, forget it then.
yeah, yeah. I was sitting here waiting
Yeah.
patiently, calmly, and
How
it never
blind we've
happened.
been, bro.
Yeah,
How blind.
you know.
Like, like when you finally, when somebody explained to me, like, why the Christians uh, end their prayer with Amen, because it's like it's an affirmation. Like I end my prayers with, and so it is. So it's saying what I've asked for is the truth, and what I've asked for I shall receive. Right. So what we learn about the spiritual life is God is never. I'm never going to see a hand
Come
come
down.
down and grab my hand,
Yeah.
because that would not. There would be no faith involved.
Yeah.
Right. Because faith is relying on the unseen
Yes.
and the unknown, the great mystery. And so the last thing I need to do is be visualizing a hand touching mine.
It's gonna.
That's probably the only hand I need.
Yeah.
Like I need to get up, and that's like that intention thing, man. We talked about that last night. The difference between making plans and having an intention.
Yeah.
And because I think God starts to laugh at me when I start making a lot of plans.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Thy will be done.
Yeah.
Seems like you got your schedule all lined up. You're a little too busy for my plan.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So it's more about this intention, and I was thinking about you. Like I don't know about the intention today. The intention today seems to be comes from an inspiration that I had last night, which was what I've learned from my teachers. It's like when a person's face or their name comes across your mind, like it's by no coincidence, and you should reach out to them. These things for you,
Yeah.
and like these years later, bro, sitting on this couch with you, the conversation we had last night with you, uh, like I've got to watch all of this stuff uh, transpire in your life.
Yeah.
And I can remember when you were debating whether or not, I was thinking about this on the way here. I can remember when you were debating whether or not to continue working with the Buffalo
Yeah.
or come to do this.
Mm-hmm.
and forgive me, I'm gonna get a little candid about that conversation, but you were worried about the money,
Yeah.
and which is a logical thing to think about, like. But the thing that happened is this thing when you know that like something's awakened inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
You were going back and forth, and you'd almost convinced yourself you needed to go back to the Buffalo,
Yeah.
and then you came up here, right?
Yep.
And one of your brothers was sitting in the lobby, and you could tell he was suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing happened inside of you where you said, "Man, I can't leave him like that."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize, like, here's where I'm gonna put this faith thing to test, because it doesn't just happen out of virtue. Like all of us, no matter how we try to say we trust God, like in the beginning, it goes like this: like, all right, God, I'm gonna give this thing a shot.
Yeah. Practice what I preach.
Please don't abandon me.
Yeah.
You know? And and then God shows out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is what's happened.
Yes, it is.
Like. Um, Paintings.
Paintings.
Yeah, paintings falling. Yeah, man. You're. We were sitting on my couch one night, and I asked you what the dream was, because somebody asked me what the dream was, man, and I told them, and it's happening in my
Mm-hmm.
life,
Yeah.
you know, and everything that you said that day has come to fruition.
Yes. Yes, it has.
Not a little bit of it,
Yeah. All of it.
everything.
Yes.
And
Yes.
more, you know. And so, like, it shouldn't. It's like by now I shouldn't be surprised, but still inside of me, I'm like, that's what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
because that's the message we carry to people: is that
Mm-hmm.
what you think your life is today, what you believe you deserve, what you see in your future, is all limited by your perspective.
Definitely.
It involves no God. It involves all human power and limitations. And if you continue to let those thoughts run through your mind, man, guess what you'll get?
Exactly.
It shouldn't surprise you,
Yeah.
because what you're going to manifest is the dark.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can take you through this process, this sacred process, to where you can dump all of those old ideas, and catch a glimpse of something new,
Something new.
then the next thing you know, man, if you, let's just say, like the street plan would have worked out, right?
Yeah.
I remember my last street plan.
Yeah.
I was gonna go all in. I've been half measuring this dope life, right? Trying to straddle the fence between living in civilian life, society, and mainstream, or diving my whole foot into the game.
Yeah. Head first.
So I had convinced myself that was the problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all the money and we're going to go see those guys that from the past, and say, look, I'm going all in. Give me all of it.
Yeah.
And it happened. I got all of it. And there was never a darker time in my life, man.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
There was never a more turmoil, paranoid, fear driven, sleepless, restless. Oh man. And it was like, here's how God loves me so much. He was like, okay, I see where you're going. Like, you get it?
Yeah. Here's your chance.
Go get it.
Yeah, here's your chance.
But let's say it would have worked out, B. Let's say I would have constantly doubled up.
Yeah, kept going and going.
Going 10 years of successful drug sales,
All the proceeds.
no L's, everything works out. And I look at that today, and so, man, I would have shortchanged myself, bro.
Man,
It would have been
so bad.
because I didn't. You just don't know what you don't know
Yeah.
until you know. And today I know, like, the peace, the serenity,
Hmm.
the true love relationships that I have, the people that God has had me bump into along the way, um, the the new operation, the way my mind works today, the new outlook on life, the new way that I think, the new way that I believe. Uh, this is the feelings that I have around that. The sensation that that gives me is the same sensation I thought I would have got if I'd have been successful with the other plan.
Yeah.
And
That.
so many people don't really realize that, like, golly, the book says, like, some of us what's the word he uses? Well, I'll use straight the word language. Some people will chase this illusion uh, until the gates of insanity or death.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know,
Only choices they leave themselves with.
right, right. When it's way more simple. Like, you're not God, you don't know. Stop trying so hard.
Yeah.
And like this, that passage we talked about is the what we talk about in the rooms is the number one offender, right? Resentment,
Resentments. Yes.
yeah, hate, uh, jealousy, envy. That line of dark power that it just harms you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
No, they don't even know.
They have no idea. All they gotta do is walk in the room.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't even know. It's the secret life I live between my ears. It's not real, bro. Yeah.
And I think it's powerful. It's powerful if you give it that power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
if you can, like that, you know, that's alcoholics' number one dilemma. Biggest and number one dilemma is their lack of power.
right. That's it. Yeah.
And it becomes like this whole different other thing. Like I can build it up and just keep building and building and building and building,
Oh,
and until I can't hold it anymore.
oh man. And if you think about it, like, somehow it becomes the fuel for living.
Yeah.
Like this insidious obsession with evening the score.
Yeah. Darian.
That will never be easy,
Yeah.
right? Remember when we talked about the $20?
Yeah.
And it's I can laugh about it. We can laugh about it today.
Yeah.
But in that
In
moment,
that moment.
it's some serious stuff, bro. Like, look, I want to get sober, Shane, right? And but, like, people owe me money, bro. And that's not really how the conversation starts. It's more about like um, I want to come into this new life, but I need to settle the debts over
Yeah.
here in this old
I
life.
need to. Yeah.
But it comes out of your mouth like, what about this guy in Hammond? I could use that money.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy dope this time.
Yeah.
I need that money to eat.
Yeah. I'm gonna do right with it this time.
Yeah, but he owes me. And just like they told me, like, man, it's you don't get to bring that life in here.
Hmm.
You got to let it go.
Yeah.
You know, like in the street they would say, charge it to the game.
Charge it to the game.
You know.
Slippers count too.
Yep. But it's different. It's a different kind of thing. Like you have to really be willing to let it
To
go,
let it all go.
to be removed. And golly, I could talk for hours about incidents where the old life during those first couple of years, uh, the old life taking a shot. Like when you start to really look at the spiritual warfare, like these are not people showing up. The reason we say prayers like God save me from temptation is because like those people that are involved in the dark life showing up to your door don't really even know what's driving them, and they come and they're trying to get you to dip your toe back in because man you played well on the dark side.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really want to let you go. You know, you were a good team member, and I can tell you about these incidents when these people came back, bro, and like I had to be mentored on how to handle it. Like, don't get all wordy. Don't don't be conceited. Don't be arrogant. Just say no.
Yeah. Start explaining yourself.
Yeah, just say a prayer and say no, and watch them leave,
Yeah.
and they'll never come back. Like when you start to see that happen and materialize in your life, you go, man. Now you start to get a real glimpse of what you were up against.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because a lot of people are out here thinking if they just kick the dope, their life will get better.
It's a good beginning.
It's
a
absolutely necessary.
absolutely part of it.
Yeah. Like nothing else can transpire if
Yeah.
that doesn't happen first. But if that's all that happens, it's coming back.
Yeah, you the
You
same.
got no power.
Yeah, you're the same person
Yeah.
that just stayed sober for 2 weeks. You know?
Yeah, it works right. Too.
Yeah.
Because there's this weird part of us that feels this sense of disloyalty, right? Like to will we start to measure these thoughts about like if I were to let them go, then they think that I think that I'm better than them, and I can't let that happen.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense in your head.
Yeah. When like 2 nights before you guys were plotting on taking each other's shit. Today in sobriety, you're worried about being loyal?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Man, that ain't you thinking. That is another power that just wants to keep the chains on, bro.
Yeah.
Like go be free.
That's part of the sickness.
Yeah, man. There, if you're God's child and you're beyond human aid, then they're God's child and they're beyond human aid. So you being loyal to them will not give them what they need to be okay.
Yeah.
Golly. Let God be God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Get out of his way.
Get out of his way.
You know? And I think that's one of the, like we've been on survival mode for so long. We've had to rely on gut instincts and, intuitions or just a dope fiend wanting to get high, like, and like, you lose this trust in people because it's such a a backstabbing event time and time again. Oh yeah, that's my best friend, but I owe him a couple hundred. But we'll get square again. You know, like oh, he dropped this last time he was here.
Yeah.
I just didn't mention it whenever he left.
Oh man.
And that trust thing, that faith thing, like it had to be reintroduced to me.
Yeah.
It had to be like I had to talk to another human being that actually put faith in something besides themselves.
Yeah.
And I seen great results
Yeah.
happening. They were happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they actually bought toilet paper for themselves. Like
In full.
yeah,
Weird.
yeah, it's a crazy world.
In order, like you cannot transmit something you haven't got.
Yeah, you can't give it away if you ain't
Like
got
it's
it.
impossible. You can try. You can memorize books and try to tell people, but
Quote them word for word.
if you haven't lived that other life and like being able to say things like, man, no, let me tell you what specifically, not like some you know obtuse philosophy on how to deal with it, but like, no, bro, they came to my house too.
Yeah,
Uh, you know,
yeah,
no,
they hit me up too.
no, the tax man called me too. Yeah, no, I was on probation too.
Yeah, I've had that
Yeah,
bad gut feeling too.
no, no, they all knew where I lived too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I made that pledge to them too. That kind of stuff. Like, how do I get out of the clique?
yeah.
How do I, you know?
How do I shore up all these
Because
depths?
most people like you walk into the AA room and you see the old man in the corner still wearing a suit, and he says he's been sober for 40 years. Like, you'll feel ashamed to go and tell him, like, look, bro, I got like 3 baby mamas. They all got me in court.
Yeah,
Like, I owe the dope man like 2 grand, and I'm homeless,
yeah,
hungry. I don't want to live this way anymore, but I don't know what to do
yeah,
about that. How do I do that? You know, like, thank God there was somebody that could go, cool, okay. Man, I've heard way worse than that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You had it easy.
You mean to tell me you got no charges pending?
Yeah,
Right. Like,
and
okay.
you're here because you want to be here.
Right. Yeah. And you nowhere in there did you just ask me for $5?
Yeah, cigarettes are 10, so
Not that I'm saying we don't do that for each other,
yeah,
but sometimes we shouldn't. Sometimes getting out of God's way is letting you
feel,
let you get down there.
yeah, letting you feel, what you need to feel.
Yeah. Sometimes I think we put the parachute on too quick. They get a soft landing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
It's that self-preservation.
Yeah.
That survival instinct. Like I still see it taking over. I can still feel when I need things to always go my way.
Whew.
And when it doesn't, like I feel like it's only me.
Oh yeah.
It's only me that has that problem.
Yeah.
Everybody else's life is grand and going good, and why does all this always got to happen to me?
Yeah.
And then like then it becomes a pity party.
Oh man. I mean, you can still be incessantly looking out the peephole, stone cold sober, figuratively. Like, Has it happened yet?
Yeah.
Plan working out. Show me a sign.
Fix the blind.
Checking out the blind. Gotta 30 seconds pass by.
Yeah, nothing.
Plan working out.
Yeah.
Living in turmoil.
Yeah.
Just completely,
Mind everywhere.
man, just not, no faith. Yeah.
You know, and I've spent most of my life there.
Yeah.
I remember a time when I had faith. You know, when I still had a little bit of innocence. You know, I understood what Mahio and my creator, like I understood what those things meant. I just didn't know how it worked in my life. You know, like I always had that thought, and I always knew where to turn. You know, them foxhole prayers.
Yeah.
You know, I knew where to direct those things to. I just never allowed him to do his job.
Yeah. Oh no, that takes way too much waiting. Like when I talk to the guys that I work with, I tell them what I was told. That we're about to embark upon. They use the word work in the book. Like we're gonna embark upon this work. But the word work scares the shit out of a dope fiend. Excuse
Yeah.
my language. Like, how long do I have to work?
Yeah. How much?
Yeah, that's the first thing that goes through our mind. How much time and how much energy?
How long do I got to focus?
Right. Because I can't. And it's like, well, now you'll start to realize, like, if I told you all you got to do is go sledgehammer and pickaxe the driveway, they do it.
Yeah, no problem.
But that's not the kind of work.
Yeah. How big of chunks do you want?
Right. Like, destroy something?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. This kind of work takes you sitting still, quietly,
Quiet.
uh,
Calmly.
again, still,
Yeah.
quiet, waiting, trusting, you know? Uh, and man, when I started to realize how unnatural that was for me,
Yeah. I'm one of these guys.
and then realized that it was absolutely necessary that I start the practice.
Yeah.
Like you got to start somewhere, kind of thing. That is work, bro.
Yeah.
It's so unnatural for us to sit still
In our own
and
thoughts.
wait and not hustle up an answer or hustle up the next whatever. Like hustle up knowing, right?
Yeah.
Like I got to have the answer today.
Yeah.
And man, my sponsor would. I asked him, Don, how long do you meditate? And he said 30 minutes, and I was like, damn, because I had been trying to
Yeah. 2 minutes.
with the timer.
Looking at my phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
the day that it happens, when you lose track of time and you're sitting there at peace after you've done some other work, some chicken scratch writing and some confession.
Yeah.
Down, and the next thing you know, you're closing your eyes and this little thing happens in your middle of your chest where your heart starts to sing and there's a little tingle down there and you're smiling with your eyes closed. And you go,
Feeling it.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know?
Maybe this world isn't caving in. Maybe the sky isn't falling.
Look how everybody's okay with me not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a lesson in that!
Yeah.
Like when you find out, like you know when they'll need your help. How? They'll ask.
Yeah.
Up until then, leave them alone.
Yeah, yeah. And to have to be told that,
Yeah.
like you're just kind of like, well, oh shit, like, you know, that could have saved me a lot of trouble, some years ago, but
Man, I heard this girl the other day in this meeting. I hope she's listening right now. Like, I don't want to laugh about it, but sometimes if there ain't enough humor, like you don't know how dangerous it is. Like you don't really understand how delusional you are, how close to death you are. When
man,
man is talking about all these kids need me, right? And crying, and she's high and delusional in the meeting, can't keep a thought. And like I flashed to the kids needing her, and they don't need you.
mm,
You need them to need you.
yeah,
Um, they need an adult who can take care of them, but that one ain't you.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, like I know how hard it is, but when the parenthood thing gets reversed and you start needing these little toddlers to feel okay, like like do you see how the roles reverse?
yeah,
Like what you need is God, which is way above you and way older than those kids,
yeah,
and those kids need an adult who's reliable and dependable.
yeah,
And until you can be that, like like the old adage, like if you're in the airplane and the airplane loses cabin pressure and you got a kid sitting beside you, when the mask drops, put it on yourself
put it on yourself
so
first.
you can help them. But if you pass out, they don't know how to put the mask on.
Yeah,
And I'm like, man, I like that place is like you can't slap me out of it. Man.
yeah,
Like, I had to be removed, bro. you know,
yeah,
I had to be removed from the family. And I just pray for her, like, man, uh, you need to you need to let go of any plans you have
hmm
and let people help you.
yeah. Allow God,
Yeah,
just allow Him. Like just being able to sit there in your own thoughts, quiet, and like that takes work. Like it just like you were saying with the counter, and I'm over here watching my phone.
right, right.
Oh shit, 30 seconds. Ah.
No, yeah,
And I had these dreams of doing what I'm doing today, right? Like I had dreams, like little glimpses here and there, and I pictured like I would daydream, like after you come off a week bender
yeah.
and you're just laying there, like I know I'm fixing to go do what I do, and I remember just sitting there thinking, like, I wonder what it feels like to to not want alcohol or drugs. And I'd just be sitting there thinking, like, that must be like a crazy life.
Man,
Because how does that even exist? How do you not want? to just smoke a joint. You know, like who does that? You know, like
Imagine.
yeah. I just remember having these like one of these days, you know, like if I ever go to jail and I have to get sober, like then I'll know what that feels like. You know, like if a judge ever tells me like you need to stay sober, I might stay sober.
Right.
You know, but you know, like
Doctor says.
yeah, if a
You're
doctor says
liver failure.
you might not want to drink, you know, like there was just so many, you know, like if somebody else wanted that for me, you know, like then
Give me the
yeah,
motivation.
that's all that I need is somebody else to want that for me. And you know, one thing that you know, and hindsight's always 2020, right? I just remember thinking like nobody's going to come and save me from myself. You know, like there's really gonna be nobody.
There's not.
The people that love me the most, you know, with that unconditional love, ain't gonna say, Barry, you got a damn problem.
I mean, they love you.
Yeah, love you.
They don't have the power. They ain't got the time or the
Mm-mm,
energy.
mm-mm.
They, like we find out, like they don't possess the power
The
I
power,
need
no human power.
to. But like those words don't mean anything until you get to that place where you're
Yeah,
talking about. Like it don't matter how many times I go to jail.
yeah.
I mean, or how many psych wards, suicide
How many
attempts.
rehabs? Yeah,
No, the, you. The problem was never that like I can't get separated from the dope long enough. Like that's for the and I'm talking about for the real addict and alcoholic, man. You know, uh, that's not it. But that I've been separated long enough, you know, until uh, all of the toxins and were out of my body, the cleanest you'll ever get.
yeah.
But that wasn't the problem, man. This thing,
Working against you.
and I can't change it.
Yeah, don't need permission.
Yeah, no, it's like ultimately, you know, you're gonna find out the hard way that like, uh, you know, like when you stop telling people you're gonna quit.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty far down the road, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm tired of lying about that. I'm tired of looking like that guy.
I am gonna get my life together.
Yeah, I just don't want to talk about
Yeah. One of these days.
it. Oh man.
You know, so you know, like say we did have, you know, a newcomer.
Yeah.
And you know, and you maybe get to spend maybe 5 minutes with him. And you know this kid needs help, but he doesn't know how to say these words.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have that language. He doesn't have that you know, like you can obviously see the kid is sick,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and desperation has, you know, allowed God to bring y'all two together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's waiting on his ride.
Yeah.
You know, and you got a chance with this kid to maybe just, you know, and he says, you know, what should I do?
Yeah. You know that answer's gotten a lot simpler than it used to be, man. I got a laundry list of shit that comes to my head,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna pray for that kid. I'm gonna give him my phone number. I'm gonna tell him there's a meeting here tomorrow, and I'm gonna say, hey, if you need anything, just pick up the phone. And look, I'm going to answer my phone for you, regardless of what time it is. So, like, man, if you get the chance to call me, and come back here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because what I've learned, what you've learned, what you see is that um, although we know it takes the grace of God, like there's no magic involved in this. What I gotta get a guy to understand right off the bat is that um, this takes focus,
Mm-hmm.
and so repetition, like like the people that make it, the people that have this illness, this deadly illness, this tricky, deadly illness, the people that make it get involved in this thing. It don't become it ain't a part-time thing I do in my spare time when it's convenient. It's something that I schedule my life around.
Yeah. It comes first.
Right. Like an old man Willard Mason told me simply, like this time, Shane, instead of trying to fit AA around your life, why don't you fit your life around AA?
Yeah.
And so little simple little things like that, man. And so, you know, because it's there's an illustration about like the wildebeest, or let's just say the buffalo, and they're on a migration, and you never see the buffalo in the middle of the pack get taken out by the predator. Like the pack of wolves don't get the one in the middle. They wait for the one that straggling out there by
Trailing
himself
behind. Yeah.
on the outside of the pack. That's you know, not in tune with the herd. And there's a like that's a great visualization. Like I think God gave us those images in nature to like teach you something.
Yes.
And in recovery, it becomes this thing of like, uh, you don't, you don't, the blessings don't come from all of us understanding you.
Yeah.
The blessings don't come from all of us loving you. The blessings don't come from all of us accepting you. The blessings come from you learning to understand, you learning to accept, you learning to love, you learning to forgive,
Yeah.
you know? And it took a long time, you know, a lot longer. Thank you, Blind Dave in Austin, Texas. It took a longer than I thought it would.
Uh huh.
He told me, Shane, I think you're probably going to do this a lot longer than you think you are. And, but man, today I look at it as like, man, God loved me enough to keep me alive through a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
So I don't get to sit around and be like, I don't understand. Somebody else help him.
I know a guy that can help you.
Yeah. Look, I just drank beer on the weekends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just smoked meth once for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I look at it now as like, man, it'd be a travesty if I don't show up, suit up. Because a lot, man, so many people out there struggling with this addiction thing, and the people on the outside just look at them and think they're just idiots.
Yeah, they're gone.
They don't care.
They're
They
trash.
don't care about their kids. They don't care about life. They don't want to. La, 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 la. They don't realize, like, no, man, that guy never woke up at like 5 years old and said, man, I can't wait
Yeah.
spend the next couple of decades putting a
Chasing a
needle in
rock.
the arm,
Yeah.
or whatever. He's dealing with something that's way beyond his power, and he needs God.
Mm-hmm. You know, and you know that's like trying to explain to my daughter, you know, basically like I had, kind of the situation, she's waiting on a ride, she's going somewhere, and she wants to hear about recovery, but she don't want to hear about it from me. I get it. I get it. I completely understand.
Yeah.
But I I just like I didn't, because she hates when I start talking to her. It's like, quit talking to me like we're on a podcast. You know,
I know, baby.
and I don't even realize that I'm doing it.
Yeah, I know.
Because this is how we talk. And it I said, let's look at recovery as the highest level of self-care. Like that's basically, like what is self-care? Like what does that look like to you? How do you even begin to start to understand what self-care really is?
Yeah.
Like at what point do you say, hey, that's probably not a good idea? Like when can you say no? When can you realize that in order for you to take care of anybody else, you have to take care of yourself first? And all my daughters have this loving, empathetic, sympathetic, like they all have these huge hearts. But I've also seen where that has worked against them. Where they invest, they give and they give and they give, and they never get anything back. And you know, and what they're left with is this empty feeling. And then the coda kicks in, then all the things start to happen, that line them up for exactly what their parents went through. And I can sit here and say, yeah, I get it. I can see exactly why that happened, but it feels helpless when you got to watch it. And it just,
Golly, bro. When I realized how much my mom's been sober for almost 30 years,
uh-huh.
when I realized that uh, she had to watch me and she was aware that she was powerless.
Yeah.
She knew I needed a miracle, and but would never stop picking up the phone. And like, oh man, man, I think there's a little bit of I don't know. Sometimes I think there's a little bit of maturity that has to take.
Yeah.
Where it's
Like,
like nobody wants to be told, bro, you don't even know what you're chasing.
yeah. When you're dedicating your whole life to it.
Yeah, you don't even know. Like what you're looking for in that pipe, in that needle, in that snort, in that puff, in that drink. Uh, I understand,
Yeah, I get it.
but like the problem is it worked one time or a couple times. The problem is it gave you that
Yeah.
for a while, and
Now you can't kick it.
in in the medical field they call it diminished returns.
Makes sense. That's a great way to put
You
it.
stop getting what you once got.
Yeah.
Now you can't stop. What a tricky bitch.
Yeah. Cunning, baffling, and powerful.
I think it's and then then all of a sudden we're going to offer you God.
Yeah. Come out of left field with God.
12-step program. And I like the way they told me, man. Look, man, I know this may not look like the greatest option for you right now, but it might be the only one you got.
Only one left.
And so make a decision,
Yeah.
So I think telling young people that uh, it's very difficult. It was for me.
Yeah.
It was for me. It's and speaking this language. Sometimes it sounds real corny and kooky.
Yeah.
I know how it comes off.
Yeah.
I'm not ignorant to that. I felt that for a long time too, man.
Awkward.
Yeah.
You used to make me feel awkward.
Yeah. Like, you guys with your recovery language.
Yeah. Who talks like that?
Who quotes books and stuff?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I just hope that those that stumble onto it that get the nudge, however, into those rooms. I hope that someday in their life that they find what I found.
Definitely.
Um,
Definitely. Because like I always tried to like I think like one day I was just sitting there thinking like, what if we didn't have drugs and alcohol?
Yeah.
Like how would people be mentally coping? What then what would there be? Would I'm just thinking like suicide would probably be outrageous. Like
to some extent, it kept me alive.
yeah, yeah. Like I think about it. I wonder where my life would be if I didn't. The same problems, but without drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
I almost caught myself thinking like wow, it at some degree, like it did keep me alive
Yeah.
because it was that traumatic event or whatever it was that happened, whatever flipped that switch, and I needed an answer. I needed a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked until it didn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It had some sort of relief, and I was that's what I was chasing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just then all these
Sensation. That's what he says. The sensation is so elusive.
yeah.
Yeah. And when I stumbled upon, I read a little bit about Carl Jung, who really kind of gets credit for the real beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous. When he told Roland Hazard that he was hopeless and that he should seek a spiritual experience. That people like us are doomed, and once you get too far, there's no coming back outside of like a miracle.
Yeah.
And so, but this guy, he also thought that this thing inside of us that's craving these chemicals, that on a base level, what we're searching for is God. And so, man, that's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it seems so evil, seems so dark, seems so, and just. But if God is everything,
God is
provide us a
everything.
substitute until we can get to Him?
Yeah.
Do we have to learn the hard way that,
Do
like,
we have to look at the bad before we can see the good?
yeah, yeah. And those are questions for everybody to answer themselves. But I think for me, it's like someday you just stop believing in coincidence, happenstance, and you start to realize that like whatever this power is, this thing we call God, um, its intentions for me are to have a good, purposeful life. It just needs my cooperation.
Yes.
It needs my obedience.
Needs my will.
Yeah, it needs me to line up with Him. And if I do that, then relatively for all of us, like I don't know in comparison to everybody else how good my life is. All I can say is in comparison to the other lives that I've lived over 50 something years, this
Yeah.
is the best one I've got to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems to be more stable, more productive, more purposeful, more enjoyable, more substantial. Um, uh, I hunger for things that, and I get what I hunger for is like I want to know the truth, God, even if it makes me feel stupid.
Yeah. And you'll get a lot of that. You know,
I'm gonna
like
do some absurd shit along the
yeah.
way, you know. And that's like, man, that's like learning to be like, man, true story. I played junior college baseball, and that's not like a whoa thing, but it's a it's above, it's another level. And when I first picked up a baseball at 5 years old, I could have never made a junior college team. Uh, but over um, 7 more years of practice and active alcohol, I was in deep crap the whole time. But the little effort and focus that I put into baseball allowed me to do that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this, like the word practice just always comes up. Like like you're going to have some amazing spiritual experiences along the way. Some of them will be really profound. The one that you
Yeah.
talked about yesterday was when we talked on the phone is incredible. But
Mm.
but a lot of them are just going to be the
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Them aha moments.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I'll be dang.
Yeah.
The more I do this, the more stable I feel, the more peace I enjoy, the less I think crazy.
Yeah.
The more I come around you guys, the more true friends I find. I'll be dang.
Yeah.
Reliable, right?
Yeah.
Like you've given me a lot of deer and buffalo, you know, and I've given you a couple of couches and some time.
Yeah. A TV.
And right in this moment, neither one of us feels like we owe each other anything.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no outstanding debt.
You gave me these new lenses,
Yeah,
you know, and you helped me find my new employer. You know, and the beautiful thing about that is I can't ever take them off.
yeah,
You know, like I don't get to see this world no other way now. You know, but the thing that sucks is I can't force anybody else to put them on.
you can't.
You know, like it's
You cannot.
I cannot force anybody else to put these lenses, these new lenses, you know, to help me find,
Yeah,
you know, my higher power. You know, like you got to put them on for yourself and allow your higher power to come into your life.
that's it.
You know, and you know, like just like with everything, you know, you find that balance. You know, like how can I help this person? You know, like and you know, the glasses are invisible.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like They're in this room right now, but I couldn't tell you where they were at. They're more than likely in one of these books. They're more likely, you know, probably sitting in your sponsor's book. You know, you might find them in that phone. Pick up that phone.
Might be a
Make that
conversation
call.
away.
Yes, one conversation away from being exposed to these new lenses.
Mhm.
And I feel like like you were saying, like I don't feel like I owe you anything, but at the same time, and I know you don't like to take credit for anything, but I mean, because of the work that you did on yourself, you got to be that vessel for me.
And I can appreciate that.
You know,
I know what you mean. There's 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 that feeling I have for those other like where would I be?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
What would I've done? You know, and at the same time see the God in it. You know, but it does take like the person in front of you has to be a willing participant.
yes.
You know, that's
Can't force them.
can't be like they just got to be a willing participant. So that in itself is really important. Like this thing we keep passing along, and I was sitting here while you were talking, and the flutes in the background, and I'm in this native
Setting.
setting, and uh, and I love it, and I hope I get to sweat with you Thursday,
Hmm.
and how incredibly privileged and honored I feel to be invited, you know, because we talk a lot about this too. You're not ignorant to the history
Yeah.
of our peoples, and I'm not either. And so there's uh, like I'm not one of those Caucasians that would be like, man, I wouldn't. I don't represent them colonizers from Europe.
Yeah.
I ain't. I ain't them.
Yeah.
I didn't do that shit.
Yeah.
Can't hate me.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. Like I realized that the scars are deep,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Uh, like I don't know how that those barriers got broke down for us.
I know, right?
Because what I've experienced in life is once those barriers are put up, like there's just a wall that uh, there's limits
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
to how close we can get,
Uh-huh.
and I don't feel like there's any anymore.
Me either. Like I don't know. When I see hope, you know, when I see hope, like she loves the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Like that's when I feel like okay.
yeah.
Like I don't know. Like she just the way she just like she just loves the shit out of me.
Like you're welcome. This is your home.
Yeah.
You know. So
Like,
that
where you been?
yeah. Ah.
Yeah.
Oh man, she's been sick, man. She was sick yesterday.
Oh man.
Sorry, she got better.
Good deal.
She ate. My son thought Kentucky Fried Chicken would be a good.
That chicken bone. Yeah. Them the chicken bones.
She's been on white rice for 2 days.
Oh.
And
Well,
I don't know. Glad to be here with you, brother.
man, I'm glad you came,
love the
man.
family. Love being a part of this, and anytime we can do this, I hope it's helpful.
It is,
I got to
man.
be honest, though. I would sit here and talk with you for hours.
Yeah, like we this is just how we roll.
Even if it didn't help anybody, because I like doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like I when Nat knows that you're on the phone,
Yeah.
she just kind of just I don't even know where she goes or what she, like I everyone knows like yeah, like I'm gonna take this call
Yeah.
and we're gonna talk.
We're gonna talk.
Yeah.
Not about the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that because we it's like we might as well say I wonder what God's been up to lately.
Yeah.
Like like
Yeah. Let me check in and see what
yeah.
God's been doing with Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's a great feeling. So, but I feel like I don't know. Can you see how long we've been on?
4.5 hours.
Well, I feel like
Dave, yeah.
what did Dave say?
Yeah. Love the shirts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love you, brother.
But yeah, I got to give South Coast Behavioral a huge shout out today. They got part of my world. Part of my world is over there today. And I really believe in what they're doing over there. And I feel, like it's another one of those God things, where you got to get out of the way and allow God, whatever He's got to do, whatever it's got to look like, however it sounds, whatever, like whatever. Has to happen.
It's so individual, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how important people think it is when they get to those places, but like you and I know how sacred it is when God gives you an opportunity, a
Yeah.
window of grace where you can start to ask yourself questions like, what does all these things these guys are talking about mean to me? Because ultimately, I'm going to tell you that the power that created this universe is the answer. But how that manifests itself inside of you is all between you and him.
You and him. Yeah. It has nothing to
We're
do
going to
with me.
suggest some things,
Yeah.
you know. We're gonna, but ultimately, like just like the book says, and that's why I love the program is because it says, like, for the first time in your life, man, set aside everything you've heard from other people and go inside and ask yourself, what does this mean to me?
Yeah.
And I promise you this, like this ain't a sales job. This is like experience talking. I promise you this. If you'll do that, it will reveal itself to you.
Mm-hmm. How it needs to.
Yeah. In the language and the way you were supposed to hear it and see it. Like I'm not in the business of telling you what his name is and what it looks
Yeah.
like. That's
Who
not,
he is. Yeah.
Bro, that's other people.
I don't even know if it's a he. Like
Exactly.
higher power,
Let's
great
talk about
mystery.
conditioning. Yeah.
Like there's no way. Like
I don't get to tell you.
yeah, I can only tell you from my experience what helped me and how I got here. Beyond that, I mean, maybe we can work on some healthy habits.
Yeah.
Maybe we can look at self care.
And man, and the fact that you're gonna get to be in a comfortable place,
Yeah,
eat eat some square meals and be separated from
3 hots in a cot.
from the dope for a while. Uh, talk about a blessing.
Yeah, just that by itself.
Yeah.
A safe place that has food.
The only recommendation I
Yeah.
really have is like stay off the phone.
Yeah, social media.
Just concentrate on you. Everybody else is going to be all right. You'll find out.
Yeah, come to find out,
They don't need your help. They don't need your micromanage deals with kids while you're away.
Nobody asks for your help.
Yeah, bro. Just Just do what Dave and them ask you to do.
Yeah.
And eat good and stay hydrated.
Yeah. Get on that treadmill if they got one.
Yeah, man.
And it sounds so simple to us. But I remember that time too, like
Man,
where I'm peeking out the door, like, who are these people?
man.
you know?
But I think I was so sick. I don't want to keep this going, but like when I walk into treatment, and my street antennas go up, and I'm immediately checking the temperature and seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
The answers that I get about what's going on, it's not what's
Yeah.
going on.
Never at all.
I'm gonna try to figure out how to be the leader of this thing.
Yeah, I'm a one upper. I'm the one upper.
2 days, I will be the head of recreational.
Who wanna go smoke? Yeah.
I get up before everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Kick back, relax.
Yeah.
Put one foot in front of the other.
That's it. That's it.
And sometimes walk at your own pace. It's not a race.
Do you talk about, like, I think it's so important. Do you talk about like the attitude that you took in there?
I really haven't focused a lot on that, but
Man, that just a couple of things that you said to me, I thought, wow, wow. Like when the people were, you know, joking around and messing around, and you told them, hey man, hey, chill out.
yeah,
I need to hear what this woman's talking
yeah,
about.
I need to hear what she has to say.
Like, I need some new information.
Yeah, I'm the only one sitting there with my notepad. You know what I mean? And I'm writing down the thing. Like, say that again. What did she say? And they're making jokes over here. It's a whole room full of class clowns.
Right.
There's gonna be some, and they're all cracking up, and I'm just like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Like I couldn't hear what she was saying, and so I stopped. I stopped the group. Like, hey, I really need this because when I go home, I don't want to die.
Man.
And that just kind of because I wouldn't even sit by anybody. It was a room full of couches. I would go in the other room and get my own chair and sit in the corner by myself because I didn't even want to be distracted.
That's what it takes.
Like that's how focused I was
Yeah.
because I knew what it was. I knew how sick I was. I understood like exactly who I was when drugs and alcohol come into when they come into play, like like I'm extra fiend out. Like I'm extra slick with my words. I'm all this extra. So like let me be extra for recovery. Let me, everybody's doing the least. Let me see what trying the most is. Let me do the most. Let me try harder. Like I can't because that's me back home. Like I want to just go and just, like just be in the crowd. I don't want to stand out. I don't want nobody to notice me. Like and that was my approach. Was like if I don't get this thing when I go home, I'm going to die. And
Serious.
it's that serious. So I mean, like I tell people, work these steps like your life depends on it. Because the statistics are not in your favor. Unfortunately, the statistics are not in your favor. And you may have a whole community that are against you. But then there's also a whole community that is rooting and cheering for you. Like we can't wait for you to come to our meeting.
We can't wait for you to get involved.
We can't wait
We can't wait for you to be the next speaker.
to be the next, great thing, the miracle that transforms in front of us.
That's what Shawn Michael and I, my son and I, were talking about this morning. was the reason that it takes all of us. The reason that, like, I remember when I was a kid, I'd be watching National Geographic or like the discoveries of the world, and people, you know, people discovering new dinosaur bones, and I'm an old cat, so this is a long time ago. But people discovering new flowers, and then at some point in my life, I was like, man, all those spots are taken. I wanted to do that, and they done found everything.
Yeah.
So, well, that's over with. And it's like, in this field, uh, uh, helping your fellow man kind of deal. Uh, the spots never run out.
Yeah.
Like, we need everybody
Yeah.
because somehow miraculously I got to sit down with Barry Boton, and it got passed through me. But there was 10 others that would have never talked to me
Uh-huh.
that Barry could talk to,
Yeah.
that this gentleman could talk to.
Yeah.
And so it takes all of us, you know,
Takes all of us.
and everybody's position in this deal is equally as important as the next guy.
Yeah.
There's no pyramid scheme, like there's no leaders. It's like
We're arm in arm.
the highest position you can get is servant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pay is well. Pay is great.
Pay is outstanding.
Yeah, it's peace. You get the currency is peace, contentment, satisfaction. You know,
A smile.
smile, fellowship, friendship, uh, long life relationships, food, shelter, water.
Yeah. Very important.
Very important.
Warm water.
Yeah. And, it's but here's the problem. It's not a problem anymore though. There's no vacation.
Yeah.
There's no sick time. There's no retirement. All of that happens when you shed this physical
Yeah.
body. Will you take the deal?
Yeah. You know, is that too much?
Yeah.
Is that too much to ask?
too much?
You know, and at some point in there, you're going to ask yourself all these different.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is love? What is tolerance?
Yeah.
You know, what does, what does peace actually mean? You know, you got to question your own values. You got to question your own beliefs. You got to question who you really are. You know, I never got to be myself until I got sober.
That's what I'm
You know,
saying.
what I mean? I never,
And just be okay.
yeah, and it's all right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm all right with that. I can live with that.
I've got just about as many friends as I need.
Yeah, and that's all right.
That's it. I got a wife that's unbelievable. She tolerates me. She even says she loves me.
Yeah, yeah.
When I got sober, I started believing. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's been amazing.
And amazing. So,
Well, brother, do you have anything else?
thanks if you're tuned in. Thanks for allowing us to do this.
Yeah,
Um,
and want to wish you, traveling mercies.
thank you.
Hope you and Jeannie have the time of your life.
It's going to be
You
an
know,
experience. Barry. I
yes.
guarantee you that. I bet all of your money on that.
you know, you know,
It's going to be a valuable experience.
yes, and I can't wait to hear about it. So, you're always welcome back. We will be sweating Thursday night. So that's another. We'll be able to send you off in a good way.
That's what I'm saying.
And I appreciate. I appreciate everything that the Creator has allowed. And I'm already looking forward to the next time we get to do this. But I just wish you the best. And I appreciate. I appreciate who you are and what you do.
And in the most sincere way from my heart. God bless everybody on their journey. May it be meaningful, full of love and beauty.
Thank you, Mr. Willem.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Well, I believe that's all we got. Mr. Sleeper, do you want to go ahead and hit the. Look like he's about to fall asleep, Aaron.